It's Friday, yeah. I always do that on the Friday. Don't know why, it's just a catchy thing, but let's park that for a second. Mad love for everyone passing through. We've got ourselves a US government shutdown deadline, 12 a.m. Saturday. What is the story? I think there's something sinister going off with this government shutdown because there's something that not many people are paying attention to. And I think this is the only place that we're paying attention to it other than the people that are talking about it elsewhere. Bonds. Why do I keep talking about these bonds? Well, historically, government shutdowns haven't really had an impact on the stock market. But we're going to be diving into something that's making me think, hold on a second. Are they trying to induce this government shutdown just to put some instability in the marketplace, just to get the bonds back up and the yields down? Well, we've just had some news announcements come out, which is suggesting that core price index has actually come down. That's good. That means inflation, it's good. But we're talking about data from before oil's rise to the upside. So we've got ourselves a little bit of a pickle. Now I know Bitcoin has made a nice little move. We've got a nice little ETF that's being rolled out. And we're going to be diving into that bad boy, courtesy for Ethereum. And we're going to see if that's really going to allow Bitcoin to hold stance. Some of you guys that follow the moon cycle will be like, told ya, the moon, full moon, baby, which is actually in a couple of, well, probably in about an hour's time or so, or a few moments' time. But that thing, it bloody works, man. And it's weird how human nature behaves when there is a full moon, half moon, total eclipse. You know that one? No? Total eclipse, the Jaffa cakes. Only my guys in the UK would understand that. But anyways, let's get with the flavor. I've got the mini market maker to pick up today, so I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Bit like my first dates, fast in, fast out. I can't believe I just said that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, BTC, we've got a nice little flavoursome move to the upside. The bull market is in, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the bull market is in, or the bullshit market is still showing us signs that they just do not care about things right now. Why? Because they're just running for liquidity. So, Bitcoin, if you're going to keep on moving up, show me the mullah. Show me that you mean business. What do I mean by that? Look at this. You've got this drop, or pending drop, back down towards a critical 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. Why is this important? Because if you mean business, Mr. Market Maker, you're going to start loading up your positions inside of this area here. Why? Because you then favor higher prices. Why? Because you need to get it as cheap as possible at the lowest point in the range to effectively sell it again at the highest possible point in the highest range. Cool. We've got the range daily high right here. Now, across the board, we have seen a little bit of momentum and volatility coming in, given that the NASDAQ is trading quite positively to the upside with a nice little zone that we would be anticipating with the 15,028 region. But if they can't succeed against that, then we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a problem. Now, it is Friday, okay? Now, the market tends to do a couple of things on a Friday, which is it's either going to base out and prepare itself for the weekend. Now, the weekend, what's important about the weekend? Well, the articles that are hitting the marketplace right now are the government shutdown. This is the big thing about what's happening. Congress cannot come to a decision on how it's going to spend its money. Hold on a second, bruv. Let me just put things into perspective. The US government, the federal deficit budget, here, look, deficit. That means it's at a loss. That means it's spending more than it's earning. How on earth are you going to decide what to spend your money on and come to an agreement with it if you don't have it? What's going on there? Welcome to the fiat policy, ladies and gentlemen. This is what fiat currency is all about. If you haven't got it, print it. Well, luckily, Bitcoin isn't that sort of currency right now. It's only one supply, and that's it. There's no more Bitcoin being made, and they can't get rid of it. It's all one supply. That's why people are edging towards a new monetary policy. I understand all of that. But this stuff right here, it's not the first time the government has shut down. We've had a plethora of history of government shutdowns. All 14 times funding has lapsed since the 1980s, okay? And they've had madness on coming to a decision on how they should be spending their money. So the government shutdown means there are going to be certain services that aren't going to be available. You're going to have loads of civil servants that aren't going to be getting paid, and it's all unpaid leave until they actually work out how they're going to spend the money. Well, not so long ago, we had the debt ceiling increased, okay? So now we've got other issues at hand. We're coming into the deadline on where they're going to start spending their money. And the likes of good old Ray Dalio even saying now that we're going to go into a debt crisis. Knock, knock, knock. Good old 2007, 2008 subprime mortgage crisis is happening. I'm telling you, it's starting to show the same story. But this is what people aren't talking about. They see this debt crisis. This guy, heavyweight in the game of investing. Fund manager, Bridgewater Associates. He's the boy. He's the top boy. When he speaks, we should listen, okay? But then there's lots of guys in Wall Street that talk, and we assume that we should listen. 1 minute, JPMorgan will say that the market's going to come for a slump. Next minute, a week after, it will turn around and say that we're going into this favorable move to the upside, happy days. Well, they've got to keep their investors happy, okay? Now, this is what I'm going to be talking about, which is very important for us. A long time ago, well, not so much of a long time ago, but back in 2015, there was a flash crash in the markets. Now, that was caused by speculation on the Chinese economy coming down to a standstill. It was on hold, okay? There was a little bit of a contraction in that, and investors started to rush for safety. Now, this article goes on the idea and says that Quirk of bond futures threatens to accelerate surge in US yields, okay? The CTD, which is effectively the cheapest possible way of getting rid of an asset, okay? Now, to simplify this article, to get you to understand is this. There are lots of investors and hedge fund managers right now holding a lot of contracts. Those contracts happen to be futures in the bonds market, okay? Because the yields are going up, all right? That means that these guys holding on to these futures contracts effectively aren't going to be getting the cheapest way for them to get rid of these bonds, okay? That's what the CTD is, all right? Now, if they can't get rid of these bonds the cheapest way possible for them, then what's that going to do? Everyone's just going to rush to sell their bonds, okay? That means the yields are going to go up. But the problem is we've already got yields going up. So now it means that these guys are in a situation where if they're going to try and get rid of their bonds, it's going to cost them more because the yields are going up. So that's going to naturally lead people to start reacting, which in this article, it tells us that we could effectively get another flash crash similar to 2015. But we're too busy focusing on the government shutdown, on where they should be spending their money. Maybe they're trying to induce this government shutdown to make people want to invest in the government bonds. But why are you going to do that? You've already lifted the debt ceiling, okay? And if they do shut down, that's going to hurt the US's credit rating. That means that if you can't come to an agreement on where you're going to spend your money, as an investor of the US government, or if I want to buy bonds, I'm going to be looking at the yields and I'm going to be saying, hold on a second, bruv. 5%? Nah, I need something more than that. I need to be induced to believe that you guys have got your shit together, okay? Logic would say we would be expecting the yields to try and climb up, okay? Now, funnily enough, this government shutdown is happening at the weekends. The only markets that are open are cryptocurrency, but the out-of-hours markets will be very, very interesting, especially currencies, okay? Because if they do not come to an agreement on Saturday or by the deadline, look, they're telling us there's going to be a government shutdown, and it's obviously being set up to come out with an end result, all right? They did exactly the same with the debt ceiling crisis, and then they came to an agreement. It's all hype and speculation. But this article right here puts things into perspective that if investors of bonds ain't going to get the best price to get rid of these certain bonds, it's going to cause a problem, and people are going to just get out of their bonds, sell everything, go to cash, dollar up, yields up. The stock market ain't going to be liking that at all, okay? Now, that's just in fiat, okay? Let's look at what's going on in crypto. Huh? Okay, check this bad boy. Valkyrie gets approval to start buying ETH futures for its existing Bitcoin ETF. Now, we know what ETFs are about, okay? It's a money market. That means if an investor wants to get involved in something, or if he wants to buy a collection of stocks or something, he invests in an ETF. because he wants to let the ETF do the hard work based on what these hedge fund managers have come together and said, hey, man, basket of assets right here would work appropriately for your investment. You're invested in the tech market, so this is what you'll get. You get your Microsoft, you get your Google, you get your Apple, and all of that stuff, okay? So you as a trusty investor will say, okay, I like the tech stock, I like Google, my phone's Google, or I've got an Apple iPhone, am I investing into an Apple iPhone? That's exactly how some of these investors are, believe it or not, okay? I'm about to choke on that, man. So what does that mean for us? Well, it just means that there's now going to be some popularity with Ethereum, okay? But does that change anything? Well, no, it just means now that we need to get enough people interested in this ETH. It's just another asset that they can offer in their services. When we actually look at this company as overall, the Valkyrie Bitcoin strategy itself, finance ETF, it's only got a very small market cap, 25 million. Doesn't really exchange that many shares per day. $10 for this ETF. Starting to work its way up a little bit. And we've only got 2 funds invested in this company. So you're thinking, okay, yeah, all right, it's premature, man. Look, they not only came out in December 21, but this is brand new, man. All right? Give it a chance, okay? You'll get more success, in my opinion, on crypto mining stocks than you would on an ETF, because people that will invest in the Bitcoin mining stocks, okay, they're going to be, there's a lot of backing behind it because there's a certain business model with it. Now, this Valkyrie Bitcoin strategy is, in essence, it's following what Coinbase is doing, and it's all predominantly based on people's interest or belief in cryptocurrency or as another alternative as an asset to invest in their portfolio. The problem is, right, cryptocurrency hasn't had the best reputation right now. So it's all happy days, but if the money's not coming in, then this is just going to be another boring ETF, okay? But it's not the ETF that we want. We want Bitcoin ETF. We want BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. That is what the flavor will be, because it's not Bitcoin ETF that I'm interested in. It's the endorsement of BlackRock. $9 trillion worth of assets under their belt. When they say Bitcoin, people are going to listen. That's the thing. And that's what we're looking for. Okay? In other news in crypto, Coinbase is slamming JPMorgan for banning the crypto payments. Now, we did say a couple of days ago that Chase Bank is saying to guys, if you want to start buying or selling crypto, you can't do it with us. Ciao, ciao, see you later. Taxi, all right? And Ben, he's just going in screaming about, look, man, please don't do this. Ain't going to change nothing, all right? Because if they're stopping payments right here, then you start questioning and say, hold on a second, why is this what's causing BlackRock's reluctance, or not maybe so much BlackRock, but the SEC? Is it giving more weight to the SEC? Why would JPMorgan do that? Okay, because of scams. If you've got an ETF coming out, why on earth would you be saying this and stopping people from using cryptocurrency under the Chase Bank? They said it's all about scams and what have you. I get that, but it's a little bit of a conflict for interest right now. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, what's going on in this live stream? XRP smashing it. Yes, ETF. Listen, do I say it a little bit different? Tino, can I get some chart work on Devon Energy? Feels like consolidating in the 45-50 range, long since 21. Want to do some more DCA. Okay, so give Devon Energy. Let me just quickly check this Devon Energy. Right, Devon Energy. New York Stock Exchange. Okay, then, right. So let me just see if it's over here. Devon Energy. Here we go. So let's just look at its statistics. All right, oil and gas. Oil's going up. This bad boy should be doing very well. If not doing well, consolidating, and you could be acting as a place for a hedge whilst oil makes this move to the upside. It won't make a significant gain, okay? But it's in the oil sector, and usually oil stocks do great when oil is going up. But remember, oil's going up because investors are in a little bit of a concerning point right now. And it's not because China is consuming the oil. China's economy is going down. And it's because the Saudi Arabians are reducing the supply, okay? That's the problem we've got. And even to mention that Evergrande property developer, that bad boy's being investigated right now, and they're getting close to the idea that they're not going to be able to meet their obligations, which is putting pressure on China, which means that investors are going to keep on turning to oil, and oil is going to keep on moving up. We quickly go into oil right now, and you can see that that bad boy is holding out in this range right now, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a problem. Okay, investors will always run to oil, and it's a matter of time before oil gets to $100, and that's exactly what we spoke about yesterday. Okay, now with that being said, from a point of view in terms of cryptocurrency, how is it going to impact us? Well, look at Bitcoin, all right? We've had a nice little move up. Everyone's optimistic. Yesterday, it was a sad day for cryptocurrency. Bitcoin down to 20K. Now today, it's Bitcoin up to 50K. Doesn't make sense. It's absolutely farcical. That's all I say, all right? Now, we look left and we can see, has it gone up to any zone that we haven't seen before? Yes, it has. What has it done? It's gone back into the same zone that it sold from. Happy days. Bitcoin moves up 1%, and then everyone's like, change your life. Sell the house. Bitcoin drops 1%, and everyone's like, I wish I never sold my dog, okay? So is the move in Bitcoin sustained? Like I said, the only way that we can verify this move in Bitcoin is if we do get a nice test of the 50 EMA. But there are a few things that you need to take into consideration, all right? Look at how fast the move happened, right? It's not progressive. You need it to be sort of slow to determine that there's a trend. You want to see the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame at least have this sort of curvature, because then it's consistent. They move it up, they sell, buy into it again, up, down, up, down. Some of the conventional traders will say higher highs, higher lows, and they'll say that there's a trend line right here. As long as it respects that trend line, happy days, keeps on breaking that structure, that structure, that structure, happy days. Quite frankly, it's all about people's opinion on value of Bitcoin. If they think Bitcoin should be valued higher, then they're going to start buying it. And we know that's going to be the case because people are buying Bitcoin as it's moving higher. That's why we've got this consolidation happening right now in Bitcoin, given that it is Friday, don't really have much going into actually the weekend, but more importantly, going into the next week, we do have non-farm payrolls because we've got a start of a new month, which leads me on to the next thing. Remember, I'm no longer posting on the Patreon at the end of this month. So start of the new month, no longer on Patreon. If you want to get access to the information, make your way over to the members section on the website. And if you have become a member, make sure you press this bad boy right here, which is an email notification, because in that area, in the members area, you get platinum trade setups, gold trade setups, a market watch, and a weekly wrap up every single week. Do about 5, 6, it's actually more than 5 trade setups. I'll show you one of them right now. So here is an example of it, trading USD. Aussie dollar, to help us understand what the story is. So this was euro, and we projected euro to move out after such an aggressive move to the downside. Now, the logic for me explaining why this move was going to happen is helping them understand the concept of value. How many euros can I pick up with the appreciation of the dollar? That's important. It's not a case of just simply buy and sell. That's not what trading is about. When you're trading currencies, you're effectively trading with the guys that believe the value of the euro right now is undervalued. Based on the appreciation of the dollar, how many euros can I pick up on the back of the appreciation of the dollar? That's what gets engaged inside of these zones. So if I just bring this over to here and I'll show you what I mean in terms of the chart itself, look at this. Down here, they started to engage in the idea of value because we understand that the green vector candles that appear at the lowest point in the chart are suggesting that something is going to change. Now, that just doesn't mean for euro. It can mean for any other asset as well. You're looking for this behavior. 1, 2, 3 green vector candles. Funnily enough, this green vector candle right here happened to be exactly the same one as this one right here. So there's something already changing. Zoom out, you've got vector candles up here, which is suggesting imbalances in the chart where people were trading, believing that the value of euro should be going lower. So traders are opening shorts and market maker is fulfilling that obligation. But in terms of the big hedge fund managers who are in favor of a lower euro, they're waiting to see at the point where they can grab the interest and start thinking that euro may be undervalued. And that's what happened inside of this zone, okay? Which led me to the projection that if euro can hold the 50 EMA, which is what we're looking for with Bitcoin, we would naturally expect euro to come up and hit the range daily high to sit around the 1.06200 zone, okay? We then go into the chart and we see euro has done exactly what we needed it to do and come back up into that zone, 1.06193, 120, up inside of that zone. We got the obligation and there it is right there. So it was a 15-minute time frame. Zoom out and you can see what's happened. So from a basic point of view, to get you to understand, here is the W formation, happy days. And then it shifts out, retrace continuation out, happy days, euros made the move to the upside, okay? But it's because we understood that dollar was overextended. That means persons or companies, hedge fund managers that are holding on to dollars are effectively holding on to a strong dollar by 6% at the time, okay? So then we naturally expect that they think that they can pick up more euros, all right? So if they've been building their positions inside of euro over here, that means that they are holding price and exchanging off the back of the dollar using dollar to buy euros. So they're selling dollars to pick up euros, which naturally inflates the price and brings it higher. This is what I mean about when you understand how forex currency works. It's not just the charts. We've got to have a thinking of, how many euros can I pick up with my dollars? If I can get more, I'm gonna change my dollars because they're at this price right now, okay? Now, from a technical standpoint, you can see that we've got big deviation away from the moving averages. Trade back into those deviations. Why? Because people speculate. This is a speculator's market. But when you understand what's going on in terms of value with regards to the euro and the dollar, and the reason why I focus on the euro and the dollar is because the euro makes up 56% of the actual dollar dominance index. Okay, it's the largest currency. And I've said it before, the euro could be a big threat to the dollar. All right? It could be a massive threat to the dollar. Dollar doesn't like euro, all right? They're not interested in the yen. They're not interested in the Canadian dollar. They're not interested in BRICS and whatever they're trying to do. Euro is the biggest thing. That's why BRICS is trying to make a statement. Can you imagine if BRICS started to get people from euro to get involved? That would be a rock on the tail. That would start a big problem. Trust me, that would be a very big problem for us, okay? So with that being said, you want to check out that over the weekend, become a member, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Cool. Bitcoin. So let's now dive into some day trading opportunities to understand what we can expect from Bitcoin. So first, we need to bring up the beloved. What time is it? 26 minutes past. Okay, so the market is going to be opening very shortly. Where are we at, ladies and gentlemen? It's the weekend. We're at the VWAP. We're looking for the VWAP. We're at the VWAP. So we haven't moved away from it. What do we want to do with it? What you want to do with the VWAP is up to you, but what we want to see from the VWAP, that's another story, man. I'm coming out with these wet jokes, these weird jokes, man. It's just when you say VWAP, it's just, it's wrong. I'm just going to say volume weighted average price from now on, but that's too much. But anyways, I need to get me some, man. Shit. Anyway. 505. I always laugh at that. Sorry. I just think it's funny that I like these indirect jokes. But anyway, you got liquidity stacked at 450 Bitcoin with 27,520 Bitcoin price. We've got 458 Bitcoin. Okay. Now, this is what we need to pay attention to. There's rotation right now on the VWAP in principle. So from last night, the VWAP starts to behave like this. You can see it's ebbing and flowing. Rotation, all right? Quickly for my new guys that might be wanting to understand what does he mean by that. Here is your VWAP, okay? And here is price. When you see price going up and down like this is what you call rotation, right? We kill that. When we see the VWAP doing this, right? And price is doing this, we've got trend, okay? In the VWAP. So if it's not even going to the VWAP, sometimes you might see it go into the VWAP, spike above it to come back down. But they spend more time below it rather than trying to get above it, all right? So we know that when investors are building positions, longs below the VWAP, we then expect them to sell above the VWAP. Because remember, VWAP is the volume weighted average price where most of the volume is going to come in, okay? Now, that is for Bitcoin, okay? And we can see down here, right? If you can see it next to me, there we go. That bad boy down there is a big pool of liquidity that was placed, cancelled, and maybe filled. That puts us into the range of 26,150 and 25,800. If Bitcoin invalidates the 26,000 zone and the guys down here do not step in to get their orders filled and show commitment, Bitcoin will collapse through that zone. So you've got to then look at it and say, well, where's the proof? How do I understand that Bitcoin's going to try and come down to that point? Well, as price makes its way to specific zones, you can see over here, we've got some commitment at 503 Bitcoin orders with 26,500. We are above the 27,000 zone and the 26,500 region, okay? What is that in my eye? Now, we take that logic and put it into the chart and we say to ourselves, if I'm an investor, am I going to sell from the highest point or am I going to sell from the lowest point? All right. And this is how the market maker operates. He builds his positions above key notable areas. If he's going to mark Bitcoin up, then break out, bro. There's clearly interest in that zone. We know that retail traders are stepping in. Look, here we go. $24 million worth of long liquidations are opened at 27,450, but they haven't succeeded above this previous zone because it's at 27,265, okay? Now, when I see that Bitcoin hasn't managed to clear that range, the only way that I can validate a move higher in Bitcoin is if it does clear that range. But if it's not clearing that range, then I'm only going to be assuming that Bitcoin's going to try and work its way down. Now, you can see that the market is pretty quiet. We've got the markets actually open just now. We've got gold holding out, making a nice little move back up. Tesla is not opened yet, but there's a potential gap up coming into play with that. And then, of course, oil is starting to make its way back down again. Dollar dominance is holding out in this range, and it's basing in a very important zone. So keep an eye out on that bad boy. And then, of course, the bonds market is starting to climb up, okay? Because the market will then turn around and say, oh, okay, it looks like they're going to shut government down and it looks like they're going to come to an agreement with what they're going to do and spend the money. Of course they're going to come to an agreement. They're going to keep the government shut down. I mean, back in the day with Obama, it was closed for 16 days. That is a problem, okay? And you're going to have services that ain't going to be working, and that might be a bit of an impact on people. So hopefully 3 days should actually solve this story out for everyone, okay? My guy, okay. Guy wants me to check out NEO for a split second as a share. Okay, so we've got a gap up in NEO, quite frankly, at $9 a share. They have a gap that they need to be clearing right here, but you need to wait at least until 3 p.m. for the market to really find its feet, all right? Because we're going into a plethora of news announcements that have been released and the market needs to react to it. Quickly go back into Bitcoin because I'm conscious of time. So yeah, back into the idea of what's going on regarding the whole and half number principle, $27,000 of Bitcoin trading above the highest point and trying to sell into these retail traders. As I said, if we don't get a clean break of 27,311 and we look at the liquidation points and we can see that 27,500, we got roughly around $1 billion worth of short liquidations up there. Let me just change this bad boy to make it consistent. So what have we got? Where is it? 1.5 is it? No, $2.5 billion worth of long short liquidations at 27,500. The logic would say that even if Bitcoin does come up to this zone, they need to do a clean break of it. All right. A tap into it ain't going to help, but because that's the advert to get you to buy. So you got to be careful. If they bring in the flavor that they are trapping traders, that's what you're looking for. These areas right here. You never buy when it goes up. You buy as it goes down. And that's the risk you have to take with trading, ladies and gentlemen. There's no two ways about it. All right. If you're going to buy the way the market maker buys or how these hedge fund managers buy, then you'll understand that you buy as prices are dropping. Okay. Quickly going over to EXO charts for a split second to understand where we are. Just bring that bad boy right here. So I've got NASDAQ right now holding out of this zone. A test of the VWAP from the previous session will be ideal on the cards. I'd expect it to try and do something like that. But going into Bitcoin's order flow, I can see based on the way Bitcoin's moving, let me just clear this area here. Based on how Bitcoin's moving, this is Bitcoin on the 1-day chart, okay? But I like to pay attention to the 25-day. Now, the 25-day says that we are still in an area of value, all right, which is this gray area here, with the potential of price making an attempt towards the value area high, which sits at 27,483. Cool. So 27,500, we got nearly $2 billion worth of short liquidation, sorry. So the logic would say if Bitcoin has the capacity to break higher from this point based on the commitment that I'm seeing from these green and red blue vector candles at the lowest point, logic would say you would expect a stop run to come into play, okay? What we got to be paying attention to is the fact that where else is value? And looking at that, you can see that value is currently stacked at the 26,600 region, all right? Now, remember, 3 o'clock is when you're going to get the flavor, all right? Let them manipulate the market, move up, move down. What you're looking for in the smaller time frames is, in essence, vector candles coming into play in here. So you are, in principle, looking for this flavor. Look, can you see this? Green and blue vectors break above the 50, go in, up. It may be a short-term lived move, but we could be expecting it to try and move up. Do not ignore the fact that Bitcoin has already come back down towards this zone, okay? So if you're going to be setting your stop losses and try and project out where likely price could be going, you've got to really give Bitcoin a chance to move. Do not go long on Bitcoin here, for example, and set your stop loss to be down here at 26,931. It's not going to work, ladies and gentlemen, because you're going to get stopped out. Because look at how Bitcoin behaves, all right? You need to look at a bigger picture and say, if I'm going to swing trade Bitcoin, How likely is Bitcoin going to continue up from this point? Well, I know I need to break this region up here. So if I'm going to take a long from here just to take advantage of a $200 move, fine, you play the game. You pay to play. But if you're looking for a bigger move in Bitcoin, well, we've got the start of a new monthly candle coming soon, but you've got to refer over to the daily time frame, and you can see that we have a problem, and we've got a blue vector candle that hasn't closed strongly above the 50 EMA. It's actually found a little bit of weakness. We've got to be very, very careful with this range. Okay? Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, got to love you and leave you. We've had a bit of a laugh and a joke. Mad love and respect. Please be careful of your trading over the weekends, and go check out the Traders Reality website if you want to get yourself dived into some flavor and learn about the hybrid system. All right? Mad love and respect, guys. Take care of yourselves. Peace.